Hi, everyone. It's Brianna. Tonight, I'd like to return to a particularly mysterious island, as part of our Lost Land series. In fact, this place might not have ever existed at all. You might call it a phantom island. The name of this island was New South Greenland, and was reported to exist near Antarctica. However, subsequent attempts to locate this island have all come up empty. So let's go on a little journey through time. 1823 to be precise. To the first recorded discovery of New South Greenland, to see if we can unravel the mystery. So please, find a comfortable position, perhaps close your eyes. Our voyage begins right now. New South Greenland, sometimes known as Morell's Land, was an appearance of land recorded by the American Captain Benjamin Morell of the schooner Wasp in March 1823, during a sealing and exploration voyage in the Weddell Sea area of Antarctica. Morell provided precise coordinates and a description of a coastline which he claimed to have sailed along for more than 300 miles, 480 kilometers. Because the Weddell Sea area was so little visited and hard to navigate due to ice conditions, the alleged land was never properly investigated before its existence was emphatically disproved during Antarctic expeditions in the early 20th century. At the time of Morell's voyage, the geography of the then unnamed Weddell Sea and its surrounding coasts was almost entirely unknown, making the claimed sighting initially plausible. However, obvious errors in Morell's voyage account and his general reputation as a fabulist created skepticism about the existence of this new land. In June 1912, the German explorer Wilhelm Filchner searched for but found no traces of land after his ship Deutschland became icebound in the Weddell Sea and drifted into the locality of Morell's observation. A sounding of the sea bottom revealed more than 5,000 feet, 1,500 meters, of water, indicating no land in near proximity. 3 years later, trapped in the same waters with his ship Endurance, Ernest Shackleton was able by similar means to confirm the land's non-existence. Various explanations for Morell's error have been suggested, including intentional deception. In the early 19th century, the geography of Antarctica was almost completely unknown, though occasional sightings of land had been recorded. In 1822, Benjamin Morell, who had sailed to the South Sandwich Islands the previous year, was appointed commander of the schooner Wasp for a 2-year voyage of sealing, trading and exploration in the Antarctic seas and the southern Pacific Ocean. In addition to his sealing duties, Morell had, as he put it, discretionary powers to prosecute new discoveries. He proposed to use this discretion to investigate the Antarctic seas and to ascertain the practicality of penetrating to the South Pole. Wasp sailed south from New York on the 22nd of June 1822. She reached the Falkland Islands late in October, after which Morell spent 16 days in fruitless searches for the non-existent Aurora Islands, before heading for South Georgia, where the ship anchored on the 20th of November. In his account, Morel wrongly records the position of this anchorage, giving a location in open sea about 60 miles, 97 kilometers, southwest of the island's coastline. According to Morel's account, Wasp then headed eastwards to hunt for seals, and reached the remote Bouvet Island on the 6th of December. The polar historian H.R. Mill notes that Morel's description of this island's physical features fails to mention its most singular characteristic, the permanent ice sheet that covers its surface. Morel then attempted to take the ship southwards but, reaching thick ice at around 60 degrees south, turned northeast towards the Kerguelen Islands, where he anchored on the 31st of December. At 2 p.m. on the 15th of March, as Wasp cruised northeastwards, Morel records, land was seen from the masthead, bearing west. Distance 3 leagues, about 9 miles, 14 kilometers. He did not at the time consider that he had made a new discovery. He seems to have assumed that he was seeing the east coast of the Antarctic Peninsula, the western coast of which had been explored and given the name New South Greenland in 1821, by Robert Johnson, a former captain of the Wasp. Johnson's name for this land was never adopted. In 1831 it was named Graham Land. At the time of Morel's voyage, the geographical character and dimensions of the peninsula were unknown. Morel's recorded position was in fact far to the east of the peninsula. Morel's account reads, "At 4:30 p.m. we were close on with the body of land to which Captain Johnson have given the name of New South Greenland." The next few days were spent exploring this supposed coast, which was apparently rich in seal. Some 75 miles, 120 kilometers, further south, Morel thought he could see snow-covered mountains. After 3 days, Morel called a halt because of shortage of water and season far advanced. Wasp turned north, and on the 19th of March, the ship passed what he assumed was the northern cape of the land. "This land abounds with oceanic birds of every description," wrote Morel. He also records seeing 3,000 sea elephants. At 10 o'clock Wasp bade farewell to the cheerless shores of New South Greenland, and sailed for Tierra del Fuego, then through the Magellan Strait into the Pacific Ocean, reaching Valparaiso, Chile, on the 26th of July 1823. The first determined search for New South Greenland came during the Second German Antarctic Expedition, 1911–13, under Wilhelm Filchner. The expedition's ship, Deutschland, became trapped in heavy sea ice while attempting to establish a shore base at Vassal Bay. Her subsequent northwesterly drift had, by mid-June 1912, brought her to a position just 37 miles, 60 kilometers, east of Morel's recorded sighting. Filchner left the ship on the 23rd of June and, with 2 companions and sufficient provisions for 3 weeks, sledged westward across the sea ice in search of Morel's land. Daylight was limited to 2 or 3 hours a day, and temperatures fell to -31 degrees Fahrenheit, -35 degrees Celsius, making travel difficult. They found no signs of land. A lead weight drop through the ice reached a depth of 5,248 feet before the line snapped. The depth confirmed that there was no land in the vicinity, and Filchner concluded that Morell had probably seen a mirage. On the 17th of August 1915, Sir Ernest Shackleton's ship Endurance, trapped in the ice like Deutschland 3 years earlier, drifted to a point 10 miles west of Morell's sighting. Here, a depth sounding recorded 1,676 fathoms, 10,060 feet, 3,065 meters. Leading Shackleton to write, "I decided that Morell Land must be added to the long list of Antarctic islands and continental coasts that have resolved themselves into icebergs." On the 25th of August, a further sounding of 1,900 fathoms gave Shackleton additional evidence of the non-existence of New South Greenland. Although Filchner's and Shackleton's investigations and observations were accepted as conclusive proof that New South Greenland was a myth, there remained the question of Sir James Ross's reported appearance of land in a position around 65 degrees south, 47 degrees west. Ross's reputation was sufficient for this possibility to be taken seriously, and for his alleged sighting to be recorded on maps and Admiralty charts. In 1922, Frank Wild, leading the Shackleton-rowed expedition aboard Quest after Shackleton's death early in the expedition, investigated the location of Ross's sighting. Nothing was seen, prevented by ice conditions from reaching the exact spot. Wild took a sounding, which revealed 2,331 fathoms of water. This showed that no land was near. Hugh Robert Mill, writing in 1905 before the non-existence of New South Greenland had been finally established, concluded that because of Morell's blunders, and his habit of incorporating the experiences of others into his story, all his claims should be treated as unproven. Nevertheless, he conceded that a man may be ignorant, boastful and obscure, and yet have done a solid piece of work. The Canadian geographer Paul Simpson Housley, although skeptical about much of Morell's account, suggests that the speeds claimed for the derided western journey, though fast, were not impossible, and Morell's farthest south in the Weddell Sea, queried by Mill, is entirely plausible, given that James Weddell had sailed 4 degrees further south just a month earlier. The writer Rupert Gould, in a lengthy essay on New South Greenland published in 1929, queries the assumption that the sighting was simply invented by Morell, partly on the grounds that very little weight is given to the discovery in Morell's 500-page account. Gould writes, "If Morell wished to gain an undeserved reputation as an Antarctic explorer, one would think he could have gone a better way about it than to bury his P.S. justificatives, after he had forged them, in an undistinguished corner of so bulky a book. Nor would he have credited it to Captain Johnson 2 years earlier, rather than to himself." Gould also discusses the possibility that what Morell sighted was the eastern coast of Graham Land, the so-called Foyne Coast, despite its being 14 degrees further west from position of the New South Greenland sighting. Gould asserts that the features of the peninsula's eastern coast corresponds closely with Morell's description of New South Greenland. This theory supposes that Morell miscalculated the ship's position, perhaps because he lacked the chronometer necessary for proper navigational observation. Filchner's view that the supposed sighting of New South Greenland could be explained by a mirage is echoed by Simpson-Housley. He suggests that Morell and his crew saw a superior mirage. One form of superior mirage, sometimes described as a Fata Morgana, distorts distant flat coastlines or ice edges both vertically and horizontally, so they can appear to have tall cliffs and other features such as high mountain peaks and valleys. In his expedition account South, Shackleton gives a description of a Fata Morgana observed on the 20th of August 1915. Coincidentally, as his ship Endurance drifted close to the recorded position of New South Greenland, the distant pack is thrown up into towering barrier-like cliffs, which are reflected in blue lakes and lanes of water at their base. Great white and golden cities of oriental appearance at close intervals along these cliff tops indicate distant bergs. The lines rise and fall, tremble, dissipate, and reappear in an endless transformation scene. Well, friends, there you have it. What's your opinion? Do you think Morell miscalculated his position? Or perhaps saw a mirage? Or did he fabricate New South Greenland altogether to further his career? As always, it's been great to spend time with you this evening, and hope you'll join me again on our next adventure together. If this video gave you ASMR, or you have suggestions on how I can sound more human-like, please let me know in the comments section. Until we meet again, I hope you stay relaxed, peaceful, and continue to have pleasant dreams. See you next time. Love always, Brianna. Good night.